I'm gonna be eating only street food for a week to prove a point. You see, some commenters have been telling me, oh, it's so easy for you to lose weight because you simply buy meal prep. You're taking all the hard work out of it. Pay to win. So out of spite, I'm gonna be changing my diet to only cheap street food for a week and trying to lose some weight to prove that it is a skill issue and not a financial one. The problem is, street food is unhealthy as shit. Or is it? I'll be weighing in before I start the challenge, and the goal is to either lose weight or at least maintain it by the end of the week. So with that, it seems that I'm currently at 74.5 kilograms. Ideally, at the end of 1 week, this should be below 74.5. So for the first day, I'm going to be starting out with chicken rice. Here are the rules. I'll only be allowed to eat food from hawker centers, coffee shops or vendors in my local shopping malls. And I'll try to keep the price of my meals below 10 Singaporean dollars, which is around 740 USD and 580 pounds sterling. So street food in Singapore is mostly served in these centers and coffee shops for sanitary reasons. And they aren't actually served on food carts in the middle of the street like they used to be in the past. But yeah, it's chicken rice, the national dish of my country, and also what might be a staple for this challenge. So my goal for this challenge is to try and eat dishes with higher protein content and relatively less oil so that I can minimize the calories while maximizing the protein. A lot of calories in street food typically come from the oil and sauces that drench the vegetables or the protein. But there are definitely options that aren't as bad. Not gonna lie, the first few days weren't too bad. There was surprisingly quite a number of low-calorie options available. Chicken rice, yong tau fu, fish soup with rice, pork rib soup. Amongst hawker food in Singapore, these ones do pretty well in balancing out the calories with an average amount of protein. I could totally eat these options for the rest of the week and achieve my goal, but that would be boring and too easy. And for a society that lives to eat, that wouldn't be what a fellow local would do. So I thought I would change things up and mix it up with options that my people are more likely to indulge in, to put myself in the shoes of the people living here and see whether that would still allow me to achieve my goals. And boy, did it make it harder. As a commenter has aptly pointed out, I am ethnically Chinese. I eat lao gan ma from the jar and say I love Bing Chilling every morning when I wake up.
早上好，中国！现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋。
But psych, I am not from China. Singapore is in Southeast Asia, and this is what a typical Singaporean meal looks like. We call this Cai Fan, and it's sort of like Chinese buffet, but you pay by the portion rather than entry to the buffet. There's also a Malay version called Nasi Padang. We also get a drink, the most popular being black coffee or black tea, or this drink called Ice Milo, which is a malt-based cocoa chocolate-like drink. A drink and an entree. How much do you think this bad boy costs? $4.90 for the Cai Fan and $2.20 for the drink. Only $7.10 in total. But what about the calories? Oof. There's drink full of sugar in the Milo powder and condensed milk. The Cai Fan, look at how much sauce the protein is doused in. And even the vegetables are stir-fried with so much oil. So although it might look like a balanced meal, this is full of carbs and fat, and the protein is pretty minuscule. Midway through, I've noticed that although it's easy to choose low-calorie options, all these street foods hold something in common. Protein portions are abysmal, and the moment you ask for extra protein, you have to pay an additional amount disproportional to how much you really get. Also, the portions are tiny. There's not enough volume in this food at all. I finish a meal and it's like I haven't even eaten yet. The less volume you eat, the hungrier you get. The hungrier you get, the more cravings you get. The more cravings you get, the more likely you are to consume something that wouldn't help you with your weight loss goals. And let's be real, how can you stop eating when you have amazing food right around the corner like Punggol Nasi Lemak? Now this is food that I would travel for. So Nasi Lemak is a Malaysian national dish which consists of rice that's cooked in coconut milk. A humongous calorie bomb, as you can tell from what I have here. And typically we top it off with side dishes like chicken wing, fried egg, fried anchovies and more. It is very fried. So the Health Promotion Board in Singapore is actually aware that street food, aka hawker food, is not the healthiest. And they're constantly working to educate locals on healthier alternatives when it comes to these street foods. They've actually released an article on how to do small things to reduce caloric intakes from these foods. Things like opting for plain rice over flavored rice, removing the skin from poultry or fat from meat, asking for less or no sugar when ordering a drink, and limiting deep fried foods and choosing healthier cooking methods like steaming or grilling, which I'm not gonna follow because these chicken wings are way too good. After amping up the difficulty of this challenge, I'm starting to see the problems that the average person might have when it comes to losing weight. My city of Singapore is one of the world's most expensive cities to live in. Housing and cars are notoriously expensive here, so it makes sense that most people would want to save money from other needs like food. Additionally, Singapore consistently ranks as one of the most stressed out populations in the world, and one of the biggest methods to gain some respite from this stressful environment is to eat good food. We are a foodie nation. The people here live to eat. So when you want to eat something that's cheap and good tasting, typically you would go for these unhealthier street food options. And when this happens, something like weight loss does take a backseat, because realistically, being on a prolonged caloric deficit is not fun. You're constantly tired, you can't train to your full potential. Sometimes it makes you a bit cranky when you look at a Krispy Kreme donut and tell yourself, damn, I can't eat that. So yeah, I can understand how hard it is to maintain that motivation when you're intentionally cutting out the things that give you some respite from your stressful life. But as a result of this, obesity rates have been slowly increasing in Malaysia and in Singapore. Of course, we're not even remotely close to the United States or the United Kingdom, but still. Okay, so today is the weigh-in day, and this is after 7 days of cheap, unhealthy street food. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Through this challenge, I can say that I've gained a lot more sympathy for the people that do not have the financial means to afford quick and healthy food. When you're done with a stressful day of work, one of the toughest things to do would be to sacrifice the joy of having a tasty meal. And for Southeast Asians, a cheap one as well. It's such a massive stress reliever, and I believe it mentally keeps people going. That's not to say objectively healthier food isn't possible to find, but you would really have to go out of your way to find cheap, healthy, and tasty food. So although it is definitely possible to still lose weight in these circumstances, you'll have to be so disciplined to do so. And even then, you still probably wouldn't get enough protein. So I would say pay to win faster is definitely a thing. And as for my final weight, 73.1 kilograms. Ha! Skill issue. Okay, I think that's a bit skewed because I did have lunch before weighing in last week, but as you can tell, weight loss. Challenge complete. Skill issue.